There it was. If I switch weapons.
Hey, what's up you guys, this is Rob from Gay Guy Plays, and today on #confirmed, we are digging into Devstream 122 to take a look at the entire Warframe Roadmap for 2019. Now, if I'm going to be completely honest with you, there is a ton to cover, so I'm going to try to go over everything that I've taken notes on, and then make some light commentary on it. However, there are definitely some subjects that I think we need to do a little bit of a deeper dive into, so be sure you're subscribed to the channel, make sure that you're notified and all of that, because I'll be releasing some more discussion topics within the upcoming days. So without ado, let's go ahead and jump on in. So like I said, we were taking a look at Warframe's Roadmap, which is what they wanted to hit us up with this year. They've got things broken down into like spring, summer, and then into like more of like, or actually winter, spring, and then into summer, and then more into fall. So that's kind of the way that they've got it structured. However, they did want to talk about the fact that they are going to be doing ongoing reworks and upgrades. So this isn't restricted into any of those time frames. So they've got things like Melee 3.0, which they're going to be releasing piece by piece. So if you guys aren't aware of what they're doing with that, basically what's going to end up happening is they're going to take one type of melee weapon, they're going to go ahead and Melee 3.0 it. They're going to send it out to us, see how we feel about it, then we're going to provide them with feedback so that they can like retweak that little piece and then move on to the next piece. They'll release that next piece and feedback and so on and so forth. That way they're not releasing the entire thing at once and then have us go, well, this is shit, and then have them go back and rework and retouch every single thing that they just did. I think it's a very, very smart move, but it is going to be a much slower rollout that way. They also said that they're going to be doing a bit of a difficulty rework, and this is actually tied into something else that we're going to be talking to a little bit later called Wolf of Saturn 6. This is a very, very interesting thing that I can't wait to see more of, but like I said, we're going to be talking more about that down there. They did say that they are going to be looking at increasing the challenge content this year because, and I'm so freaking happy because I feel like we've been yelling and screaming at it and they're like, okay, we get it. They do feel like there is a part of the community, a more experienced community, that is being ignored because we're not being hit with challenging content. But the big question to them is, what exactly is challenging content for each of the different types of players so that they can provide different options? One of the things that they were talking about is a difficulty slider attached to each mission type where you could kind of like tune it down or tune it up depending on what it is that you want. If you tune it up, you'll get more rewards and so on and so forth. So that is something that is really, really interesting, but that's more of a talk thing, not on them actually doing it. So just keep that in mind. Everything is still in the discussion phase. And I do believe when they talked about it internally, there was a lot of butting heads. So, you know, let them sort things out and then we'll see what else. But I did love Steve's comment, and also Scott chimed in with this too, is high damage is not a challenge. So like, just because you can do high damage doesn't necessarily mean that that's good content. They're going to be looking for different kinds of challenges as opposed to that. So really, really interesting thing there. They also said that they're going to be messing around with a bit of the new player experience. In fact, they went ahead and gave us this very, very interesting screenshot. It almost looks like it might be like a little bit of a cinematic for a new player quest. They're going to be tightening that up and coming out with a new tutorial. And then they also said that they were going to be doing an audit of the current Arcwing content to better fit into Railjack. Now, this one was super duper interesting because we did get some insight from DE Steve. Now, if you guys have been checking out his Twitter as of late, he's said a couple things about our current modding system where he's a little bit of frustrated with that. So he's actually going to be trying out a little bit of a different modding system when it comes to Railjack, where you're not going to be stacking mods of the same type, but you know, it's going to be a more easily balanced damage system. So that's definitely something that they're doing. They're also taking a look at individual extractions for extended missions and seeing how they can work towards getting that implemented for us, which I'm very excited about, because sometimes, you know, you just gotta go. Your Postmates is here. You thought everybody was gonna try to leave it like wave 10 and you gotta go downstairs and pick up your food. So individual extractions, definitely something good. And the last bit that they are chatting about, but I think this is more of like a fun background thing, is PvP races. It's not actually PvP technically, but because of the fact that the mobility in Warframe is so high, they wanted to create something fun around that, where it would be the challenge of how quickly you can get through missions. So that is a bit of a roundup of their ongoing reworks and upgrades. And of course, there's also going to be Warframe reworks. I'm sure that they're going to be updating things like maybe getting rid of Roomba Wing. Sorry, we did not want to ask for it. We want options, and the option is get it out of here. Let's go ahead and move into what they're calling the pre-TennoCon phase, aka winter and spring. So they did have 3 Warframes in queue for it, alright? So this is what they're just saying, that they have 3 Warframes in queue. I'm getting the feeling that it's not necessarily 3 Warframes in queue for the rest of the year, but 3 Warframes in queue for the first half of the year. At least that was my understanding. So the first one we have is Hildren, and as you can see, this is a thickums frame. We got basically everybody saying she look like Zarya, and she kind of does look like Zarya, but I'm living for it right now. Now, the really interesting thing about this is this was created by Minky. If you guys don't know, that was actually the old artistic director. Y'all know I had a little thing from Minky. I'm like, ooh, you killing it, Minky. So it's nice to see him bringing something back, and up, like, basically, you know, coming back for the new days, because Minky was really the champion for the original kind of Warframe feel, and now the art team is doing some really cool, interesting things with the Warframes that are coming up, but it's nice to get him back in here into the modern era of Warframe. I like it. Now, this one is going to be a shield-powered Warframe, so it doesn't actually use energy. She will actually be consuming shields to use her abilities. They didn't give us a full rundown of what her abilities were. Surprise, surprise. We knew that they weren't going to do that. But they did say that she would have team buffs as well as offensive weapons. I don't know if that's like, if she's tech, like as in like weapons are going to come out of her. But I was listening to it very closely. I'm like, offensive abilities? Or do you mean offensive weapons? And what they specifically said was offensive weapons. So I'm like, I don't know what that means, but cool. I'm just going to go ahead and quote that and use that in this part. Now, they did say that the interesting thing about this is that she would not be shipping with a typical melee, secondary, or primary weapon, but instead, she's going to be the first Warframe ever to be granted a power weapon. So there was a very interesting bug this, and if Rob is good Rob, he's editing Rob, is done it. He's put it at the very beginning of this video because, you know, just a reminder, editing Rob. But yeah, it's a big heavy weapon that just makes her look even more like Zarya. I'm into it, sure, why not? The next frame is called Wisp, and this is really interesting because Hildren was referred to as a she, I believe, and then the next frame, which I like to call Mysterio frame, is Wisp. And that frame was also referred to as a she. So it looks like we might be getting 2 female frames back to back. Interesting. Now they have said some things about Wisp in the past, like being able to phase and all that kind of stuff. But again, those were very, very early days, and we didn't necessarily get any more information on Wisp here. And then they also have one last frame, which I've taken into note as named Someone Else. So Someone Else frame will be releasing later on. There you go. Also, there is a wallpaper that's come out with this. I'll go ahead and leave a link in the description box below as to where you can get the Kevin Glint artwork that they went ahead and showed off on stream as their kind of like launch picture. Sure, moving on. Deck 12. Now, this one is going to be really interesting. It seems to be a mini quest of some sorts. They did say that this is Deck 12 Exploiter. And this is the Ballast expansion. Now, there's an event tied to this. There is going to be a boss with this. I don't know if it's going to be a permanent boss or if it's just going to be a boss for the event. And they did say that there was going to be a bit of a lore bomb in there as well. Of course, because of the fact that it's Ballast, there's going to be some lore tied in, and I'm very, very excited to see that. We didn't get too much more with that. However, what they did move on to, and this one was not something that I was expecting to really be all that hyped about, but the more they talked about it, I was like, okay. The Gas City rework is going to be introducing amalgams. Now, for those of you guys who don't know the definition of an amalgam, it is a mixture or blend. Now, they went ahead and showed this kind of like facility where they had a sentient kind of like locked up in a tube. And if you look closely, it looks like there are some corpus that are actually having things attached to them. So I think it's going to be a blend of corpus and sentience, which is really weird to me because I always felt like the corpus were kind of dick sucking the Orokin. So it's almost kind of like, but you just turned your back on your boss then, and now you're going to hang out with these guys who are trying to kill your boss. That's drama. Moving on. The things that they wanted to say with this is that there would be a new game mode in this, something called gameplay wrinkles. Like, I was trying to figure out what that might possibly mean, but they said gameplay wrinkles specifically. There are new rewards and reward structures, which is a very interesting thing. I was like, reward structures. So maybe there's going to be a different way that we're going to be awarded the rewards from these new game modes. And then we also will be facing off on new enemy types, and there would be enemies within and things attacking from outside. It's not necessarily the same old, it's not just like a coat of paint on Jupiter. It's actually going to be a complete new like rework of the space, which I'm very excited about because there are a lot of places in the Warframe universe where it looks like, you know, it's just like a Grineer Galleon or a Grineer asteroid. Oh, I'm on this planet, it's the same Grineer Galleon, it's the same Grineer asteroid. So it's nice to see them kind of expanding on this and showing some love to the corpus because I love me the corpus. They also did say that there would be some lore attached to this as well. So I'm really liking how they're infusing a lot of lore into this. In fact, moving on to more lore-y stuff. And keep in mind, we are still in the winter-spring part of Warframe, okay? So this is a lot we're talking about. We've got the Wolf of Saturn 6. This is what I'm super hyper ultra jazzed about. You don't even understand. This sounds, maybe I'm getting my hopes up. Maybe I need to rein it back a little bit, you know, because I always tell you guys, don't go all the way up here, bring it to like down here, like still be excited, but like not up, like down, like just a little bit. Not here, but like here. So Wolf of Saturn 6 is going to be a complete transformation of how alerts and challenges work in the game. Now, there is a part of this that is, I guess, going to be an event. They have a set of daily and weekly challenges that unlock over about 8 weeks. So they said that the daily challenges would unlock the weekly challenges, and the weekly challenges would be very challenging content made for meta players. So even for those players who like know what they're doing, the really, really experienced ones, that this should be a difficult task, which is also what they said about arbitrations, but we know exactly what happened with that. They said that the rewards for this, that there wouldn't be too many mastery rank affecting rewards. So it's not going to boost you up there into too higher ranks. But they did say that for other players who needed to boost their mastery rank, this will help them accelerate the mastery rank. They also said, and this is the part that like sticks out in my head like a motherfucking spear in the brain, which would be permanent power rewards. What does that mean? Does that mean an extra mod slot? Like, what are we gonna get a boost to our like modular points? Like, what do you mean? Permanent power rewards. And can we start today? Because I want those permanent power rewards. Okay? They also said that there would be a new villain and webcomic within the game. So I'm very, very happy about that because I don't really like going outside of the game to look at lore. But I think that, you know, maybe during the downtime when I'm waiting to fish or something, I can go ahead and flip through some pages of webcomic. I'd be into that if it were in game. So thumbs up for that. And they said that they also, I don't know why I put this in twice, but there's going to be cosmetic rewards and that kind of thing. They also made note that this wasn't going to be the only event kind of thing that they did, but that there would be other events like a Profit Taker event and all that kind of stuff where you'd be able to earn new Vandals and Wraiths and stuff. But this is going to be the big one, Wolf of Saturn 6. And I'm very excited about this because I've seen other games do something similar. So we're going to see how you pull it out, DE. We're going to see how you pull it out. The next thing that they wanted to say that was going to drop within the winter-spring portion of Warframe, or at least the pre-TennoCon portion of Warframe, was, of course, the new war. And they went ahead and showed off this really, really cool graphic with, I'm gonna just say, it looks like one of them big fish that go, and then, like, you know, it kind of, like, eats all the things that come inside. It looks really, really crazy. And they did say that, it would be tying into Railjack a little bit. Like, they mentioned it very slightly, like in a different part of the show. but they said there was some correlation there. Anyway, so New War, they didn't give us any more information on that, which I like. Keep some things a secret. Give us the lore, but also let us kill the Lotus. I'm just saying. So now moving on into summer, and they said that this was going to be around TennoCon time, probably something that they would be showing off at TennoCon in replacement for some of their bigger, like, wow, look at this big surprise. But instead they're like, wow, look, we're almost done. And that would be the Warframe Empyrean. Known previously as Railjack. So they changed the name from Railjack to Empyrean. Let me know how you feel about that name change. It feels so epic. I like it. So they said that their ambitions for this, and that's I'm being very clear, their ambitions for this is that this would change the way that you play Warframe. It's going to be ships that you're going to be able to build and create and yada, yada, yada. Like, I've already touched on that in a separate video where I'm not necessarily excited for that portion. I really want them to prove me wrong in this, that it's not just going to be, like, defense and exterminate missions that you travel to via ship. That's all I'm going to say. They said that it would somehow tie in to the New War, which I'm sure is probably, or at least the travel between nodes is going to tie into something like that. But they really didn't give us any more information than we already have on it. So they did show a couple images of some of the new fighters that they had. They said that they're going to be reworking all of the big ships, the elite ships that I guess they're working on. So interesting, I guess, but it's all still pretty nebulous to me. It's like, give us more information and then we'll talk. But that is their summer release. And then, of course, they did announce the TennoCon date for 2019, which is July 6th this year. So if you guys are planning on that, definitely check that out. And then moving on from that is fall. Now, I need to be very, very clear about this because I'm hyped. And this is probably tied into the New War, okay? They made this very apparent. They said they're going to start work. That's the key phrase, start work. So don't think that this is going to release in the fall. This might release like towards the end of the year, but they said start work on the plains of Deviri, which is going to be a new faction with a new tile set. So the plains of Deviri, and interestingly enough, he spelled it Planes. Not planes like Plains of Eidolon, Plains, like a plane. But like a plane. Well, that's a bird. But it's a bird, it's a plane. You know what I mean. So plains may be like a floating city of some form. I don't know what it is. But they did go ahead and show off this picture, which looks very eerily like Ballas. Are these Orokin that are left over or something? He got a big arm and he got a weird circle belly. I don't know what's going on. But regardless, that is what they are going to be showing off towards the end of the year. That's going to be what they start work on. So that is the entire 2019 roadmap. My throat is just gushing full of liquid right now because I had a whole bunch of lunch and my mouth is still salivating. So I'm tripping over my tongue. Regardless, with this tile set in place and with their ongoing projects throughout the year, are you guys excited? Are you guys hyped up for Warframe? I'm gonna be honest with you. I've been in a little bit of a Warframe boredom moments, but this, when I see Wolf of Saturn 6, when I see things like the Gas City, the interesting Gas City stuff that they're doing, and also the fact that they're going to be bringing in challenge content, or they're going to be working towards making some challenge content, it gets me a little excited. Truth be told, I don't believe jack shit until it's delivered to my door, but it's nice to see them kind of acknowledge the issues that they are currently seeing in-game and attempting to work towards fixing them. Sometimes that's all you need to hear is like, we're gonna try. We're gonna try, just like they should try to get rid of Roomba Wing. You guys knew I had to throw one of those back in there. Regardless, let me know what you're most excited for now hearing all of this. Do you feel a little bit better about Warframe? Are you excited for Wolf of Saturn 6 like I am? How about the new frame? Are you liking Miss Hildren? It's Miss Hildren, right? We just gonna do Overwatch in Warframe. Anyway, that about does it for me for now. So as always, love somebody. Oh my god, there was also an Arcwing Glaive. Done. As always, love somebody, hurt nobody, and touch your body. There was a lot to cover. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.